Welcome back to another episode of the Family Album. I'm your host, AJ Tenari.
And I'm Matt Glass.
Last week, we took a look at Glow On by Turnstile, and Heard Noises by Matt Berry.
Glow On by Turnstile.
Everyone's favorite Irish band.
They are British.
They are British.
Yeah. It's not the same thing, though.
No.
If you tell anybody, like, oh, yeah, you're all in the UK, yeah, they're going to fight
They're going to be pissed.
Yeah.
They're going to fucking black out, if you will.
Yeah. Very fun albums, though.
Yes, very fun. And speaking of fun, it's an off week, which means we bring on a guest who brings us a theme for this week's album. So, please welcome Clay Malaney.
Hey, how you guys doing?
That's a fun name, Clay Malaney.
Clay Malaney.
There's like a lot of like...
Yeah, actually, I'm Irish.
Yeah, no,
so I have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, why would you say that, AJ? That's insane.
You know what? That was a lapse of my judgment for that having Matt speak for me.
Yeah, honestly, that's a very valid point. Don't ever have me speak for you. Clay, it's great to have you on.
Yeah,
It's great
man.
to be here. Thank you so much.
Of course. Before we hop into the albums you chose, give us a little bit of your musical background, any kind of like your musical taste, anything about you and music together.
Music came at kind of a weird time in my life because like I listened to music when I was like a kid, like young, but I never really like connected with it. And then like I used to do gymnastics when I was a kid. And so my dad would drive me half an hour this thing almost every single day. I was there like Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays. As I got older, turned into Thursdays too.
Oh, I see.
So 5 days a week, me and him were in the car.
Yeah.
And he turned on Iron Maiden.
Oh,
one
shit.
day. He goes, "Don't let your mom know I let you listen to this, right?" And I was cracking up. And it just like rocked me. Like it was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, like for some reason, like when he turned, he's like, I'm gonna put this on. He made a note of it, like, listen to this. And I was just like, whoa, Aces High. I'll never forget that. The first time I played Aces High, and I was like, this is
You
is
had that
awesome.
awakening.
Right. I was like,
yeah,
I want to play guitar. And
It was your canon event.
Yeah, right. I was like, I want to play guitar. My mom was like, well, what kind? Like electric or acoustic? And I was like, electric.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to a studio right by me, R&M Studios.
Okay.
Really great place. Met some really amazing people there. My teacher Jeremy, he taught me for like 3 years how to play guitar. And right around the end of that, when I was getting like all those stuff, I joined in a band with some friends from high school. Like they didn't go to the same high school as me, but we met through R&M actually. And we did that I think 7 years.
Damn.
A long time.
That's pretty good.
Nothing but a nightmare. Yeah, we were like kind of like a local band. We had some like spots that we played around. Like a lot of people in high school knew us, which was like kind of a good and a bad thing.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like a certain clout, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
right. It's
we're
like
the high school
but
band.
no, it was awesome though. And then after that, we disbanded, and then Milo Sky picked me up, and I played with them for a year, and then you guys picked me up.
Yeah,
and,
Saturday Corngore.
Saturday Corngore. So I was like, I've just kind of like my whole life has kind of become a part. Like, music is constantly kind of a part of it. So I try to like look at new stuff. I'm always trying to like learn
out.
something
Yeah,
new.
man.
Yeah.
That's the way to be.
Yeah, all different. That's why I picked two completely different albums, because I like 1 week I listen to something, and then next week it's like complete switch. I like that though.
I guess if you had to like quantify like your general music taste, I guess what would you put it as, or just everything in general?
Something that has a purpose, right? Like like where are we going? What story are we telling? Where do we end?
Yeah.
Did we get a point across? Did we make a statement? And it doesn't have to be like crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be super serious. But I like music that kind of has like
a reason.
Yeah, it's like a reason why it's there.
That makes sense.
Which is a lot of it, I feel like.
Yeah,
Totally. So it's like I pretty much, not much I say I don't like.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason for pretty much any album to be out there. It just depends on how well they execute it. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, right. Do you make your point? Yeah.
Exactly.
You supposed to be here?
I think that is like the big thesis statement of music, honestly.
That's the big thesis statement, I think, of our podcast.
I would agree.
We write
Other
that
than
down?
Tom Hits albums.
That's our tagline now.
You know what our tagline should be?
What's that?
And I'm being serious here. This is a soft launch official.
Backdoor pilot?
Without AJ knowing. I am setting this right now.
Go.
For music lovers and haters.
Oh,
Ooh.
that's pretty good.
Ooh.
I honestly,
Hey.
given our sister show Tom Hates Albums, that's pretty good.
It'd be pretty cool. I mean, it definitely catches the eye.
Yeah.
I thought of that in the shower, and I was like, wow. And then it just kept going because I had work to do. You know?
Of course,
Yeah, I like
priorities.
that though, man. It hooks you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
music lovers, the music haters.
Who are the music haters?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we got one.
we do.
Tom Murphy.
And we're gonna bring him out right now.
Oh shit, there he is.
Oh God, please leave. Please leave.
It's prediction time.
No, Tom, we'll see you next week. Get out of here.
That's true. We will. But what are the albums you chose? Wow, voice crack. What are the albums that you chose this time?
This week.
This week.
This week, yeah, this right here.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. I got Songs for the Deaf by Queens of the Stone Age, and then Silk Degrees by Boz Scaggs.
Yeah. I guess if you had to like put a theme to it, what would that be?
I feel like kind of like experimentalism, isolation, and kind of like just traveling.
Yeah.
You know,
I can see
Definitely.
that, yeah.
yeah, kind of like, you know, constantly moving around or thinking about places they've been or something like
Or like
that.
I guess like imagery of moving specifically.
Right,
Yeah.
consistently moving, but also like kind of in both, almost feeling that sense of isolation.
Yeah.
Like, you know, as
Yeah.
Queens travels to like the desert and they're all, you know, just pretty much alone or,
Yeah.
you know, just with something else. Not even a person, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes.
And then Boz Scaggs is like relationship troubles and also almost like water kind of like motif a little bit. It feels like very like yacht rocky.
Dude,
Yeah.
It's very yacht rocky.
Yeah, dude. The one. What is the one? It has a sick ass bass line. I love it.
Is it Lowdown?
I think it might be.
Yeah.
It's in my notes because I was like, I want to make sure to make a point of that.
But we'll get to that when we get to that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I guess speaking of that, Clay, what album do you want to start with this week?
Ooh. You know what? I think we're gonna do Boz Scaggs first.
All right.
And then we're gonna jump back over to Queens.
I like it. I feel like there's less tracks to talk about too.
Right.
So we can get through that.
Is it Scraggs or Skaggs?
I believe it's Skaggs.
Skaggs?
Yeah,
I'm
Boz
so
Scaggs.
sorry,
It's all-
Mr. Skaggs.
We know you're listening.
Mr. Skaggs and or Scraggs.
Yeah.
We apologize.
Whatever you answer
Apologize.
to.
Hit us up and let us know what it is.
Yeah, and then come on the podcast.
Yeah,
Boz
come on the
Scaggs. Is he's still alive, right?
Yeah, he actually has a podcast called Pod Scaggs.
You know what? I'd listen to it. That's the. Anyway, AJ, tell us
Yeah.
about this album.
All right, so Silk Degrees by Boz Scaggs was released February 18th, 1976 on Columbia Records, and it's the 7th studio album by Boz Scaggs. It's been certified 5 times platinum and is most well known for Scaggs' hit song Lido Shuffle, but also for steering Scaggs into more mainstream commercial success, as well as for blending different genres like soul, R&B, and ballads with his usual pop rock flair. Also of note, 3 of the session musicians who worked on this album went on to form Toto a year later.
That's insane.
Yeah, Jeff Porcaro on drums, David Page on piano, keys, and synths, and David Hungate on bass. All formed Toto, which is really fucking cool.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow. That explains the musicianship.
Oh
for
my
sure.
God,
Yeah.
'Cause it is insane.
That's exactly when I first was like looking up more about
Yeah.
this, to know who he was, you know, more about him. 'Cause I only heard it because of my girlfriend Katie. She put a record on, and it was just like, I got this for free at a record shop. We just put it on one night. We were making dinner. It was like the other weekend. I was like, whoa, like I got to do this one. Like, this is
Yeah.
like it's not my kind of music that I usually would listen to, but it's just like
it's cool.
It's cool. I'm like the music, the actual instrumentation. I think is what really hooked me.
Agreed.
The words are, you know, good, but I'm not a big love song guy. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's not my thing.
And as like a lyricist, he's not the strongest or the most like profound, I guess.
Right, it's not like huge concepts, but I mean, you got a smooth voice.
He does.
So yeah, you gotta give him that.
I think his lyrics shine where they need to in parts for sure. I think awesome personnel is just another overall theme of like these two
True.
albums.
Yeah, it's true.
Because
Yeah.
the personnel on the next album shocked me.
Uh-huh.
But we will get to that
We
later.
we'll make it there.
We're gonna get to that later.
But as for Mr. Skaggs, shall we
Or
just operate?
Scraggs.
Or Scraggs, whatever you answer to.
It's the idea that we looked up history for this and we don't know his last name.
Exactly. Boz Scaggs or Scraggs.
Shall we hop right in?
Yeah.
do it.
So this album opens up with What Can I Say? I feel like this is a nice kind of tone setter for the album, but it's not the strongest song whatsoever. You do get a sense for his vocal styling, both the usual and the Kermit-esque
The
vocal inflections.
That is
he
literally
has.
what I wrote in my notes. Yeah.
Come on, tell me that you love me, dear.
Yo, I thought you had that playing for a second.
Hey, what can he say? He's a great Kermit.
Exactly.
Oh man, I wrote the track as "What Can Say."
Yeah,
I see
Just wanted to let the audience know
dyslexia
that.
strikes back.
Yeah, exactly. This feels like a TV intro, which I feel like I
Yeah.
can say for like a good portion of these.
I would agree.
I do like the combinations of like the strings along with the sort of like Steve Miller Band kind of like instrument setup. He's got like a nice like like half orchestra thing going on. I
With,
feel
like
like
the horn section as well, with like your classic band setup. It's a nice mixture.
it really is. It really adds to the whole yacht rock vibe for sure.
yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. Like when I was listening to it, I was thinking about this guy's trying to get the girl, kind of like. I feel like a lot of these things, but then looking at the other one, I was kind of thinking like this is also him trying to chase something. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't have it, he can't get it. He's kind of like just desperate. Honestly, the guy's like
a lot
crying,
of the song.
like what he said, girl, got to have your number, baby, and all this other stuff around that. And I was just like, it doesn't sound like she wants you, man. Like, I'm sorry, it sounds like she left.
Just gotta give that up.
Yeah, so I was like, and I guess that's my major only problem I have with this thing. All together, it's just like
A little repetitive.
yeah, it was
It can
good,
be.
but especially his lyricism gets repetitive. Like,
totally.
Yeah.
So in this one, he's doing that kind of stuff a lot. I mean, I thought, it's a nice intro. It's like, okay, that's what we're gonna be doing.
Exactly.
It's like sets the tone.
And I feel like the highlight is definitely like the instrumentation. Like the
Without a
bass
doubt.
work is so
It's
fucking good on this
phenomenal.
album.
Also, I would argue the stereo spread on the kit too.
Yeah,
because they mic'd up
yeah.
every part of the kit, and like it feels like you're sitting in the kit at some
And
parts.
it's so full in the mix. Like you just hear everything in both channels. It's incredible.
It's remarkable.
Yeah. It's really good work.
It's a very serviceable opener. And,
Yeah.
as a piano guy, the keys filling in for the rhythm, it's very nice. So I liked it as an intro.
Yeah, I think drums are also very good as well. They're very tight, and I like how like the way that they sound. Though I wish the kick and the snare had like more punch on this entire album because I feel like they're lacking a little bit in terms of like mixing.
The kick does have some
does.
power
Some
in
moments.
like one or two of the tracks,
Yeah.
and it's pretty funny. But I think overall it's a pretty good opener.
Solid opener, but it's blown out of the water by the next track.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
I would say
Dude,
so.
Georgia's so good.
Georgia is so fucking good.
Yeah.
One of the best ones on this album, I think.
I would agree.
My first note was, oh my god, that fucking bass tone in a yacht rock album. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. Like
It is.
the funk elements on this album you would not expect for like an artist like Boz Scaggs when his greatest known song is Lido Shuffle. I was like, oh, what the fuck is this?
Oh, I have more to say about Lido Shuffle in
Yeah.
a little bit.
All right.
Yeah.
But this fucking track is incredible with like the subtle wah in the guitars.
Yep.
Like that effect is amazing. Having the piano so clearly in the mix, again, great. I think the love sentiments in the lyrics are maybe not best on this track, but like definitely one of the best.
Yeah.
I think it works here where it doesn't feel as fatiguing to hear him just be like, I miss you,
I want
baby. I want you.
Yeah.
Georgia. I miss you.
Georgia.
I actually when I was looking into this song, apparently he spent some time in Georgia.
Oh.
So some people also thought he might have also been talking about how you like the scenery there.
Oh,
And kind of also looking back on
kinda
it
cool.
as like a place that he was at one point. He was born in Canton, Ohio.
Okay.
So I guess, nothing against Ohio. I'm not hating on anybody from Ohio here, but I've been there a couple of times. And there's not a ton going on.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of life, a lot of people, a lot of great people, but there's not like a ton that goes on. So like I feel like something like Georgia, where there's so many
It's that
different kind of
culture.
sceneries.
Yeah.
You can get everything. I feel like that's also probably part of it. And kind of like you were saying, kind of looking like past on like almost like a past love, like but like reflect on it in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
totally.
it's like nice. Like this guy's happy about it so much.
And like the music reflects that too. It's like nice and bouncy. It has like this kind of soul flair too, which I dig a lot.
Yeah, no, it's exactly. It makes you feel. I feel like good.
Yeah.
I feel like the
Yeah.
whole album,
Good
even
vibes.
though it's just like sometimes again the lyrics, but it's like everything. It kind of makes you feel it's like light, bubbly.
Yeah.
Like you're sitting at the beach. It's like the best feeling I feel like when you listen to this kind of music.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of these tracks would be like great vaporwave samples with like their instrumentation.
Yeah. Especially with like the grandiose like horns
Yeah,
and stuff
man.
on like so many of these. Could you imagine like a vaporwave of like Lido Shuffle? That'd be crazy.
That'd be so cool.
Slow down reverb. I think the horns also do a really good job of lifting up this track
Agreed.
too.
They're very nice on here. I love their inclusion. Also love the halftime breaks that are on this track a lot
my
after the
God.
choruses.
Yeah.
They're awesome. This was a favorite. This was a playlist ad. I actually really enjoyed it. I love just how driving the instrumental is with that straight ahead rock beat, as well as the noodling bass and just like the string section that just always adds so much tension. It's great.
Holds it all
bass.
together.
Yeah, man.
It really does. It holds it. It's like kind of. I feel like if you looked at it, like how could a band be perfectly balanced?
Yeah.
Like maybe not the best for every music, but like if you took it perfectly balanced, it felt like that's kind of where everything sat.
True. Yeah.
Like right where it should. It was like dead on exactly what it should look like.
Exactly, dude.
Like if it was like a perfect scenario. Which I feel like something that's nice when it's not.
Yeah.
But for the
This track works really well.
for this it works really nice.
I think lyrically also with this track, he has a better sense of wordplay.
Yeah.
Like Georgia, rhyming that with like gorgeous and also describing like her like smile and shit, like Christmas in your eyes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's a very like, it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very
It's
nice
pleasant.
sentiment.
Yeah.
It gets a little bit old after this, just a little bit.
But hey, here it works.
Here it works.
Yeah. Shall we move on?
We can jump to this street.
Dude, that was fucking good, man.
That was a perfect lead-in.
Guys, give it up for Matt.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what they call me?
The Duke of Transitions.
They call me
Hang on, this is gonna be really good.
It's cooking.
Listen, they just say once Matt's here, it's over. You know, that's like 6 tracks ahead.
They do
but
say that.
I was trying to tie in the album some way to my next joke.
Harbor
Anyway,
Lights.
Harbor.
But yes, Jump Street.
Jump Street is the name of the next track, though.
It's pretty cool. I feel like it goes on a little too long, and I feel like that could be said for a couple of the other tracks. It's like a cool kind of like bluesy kind of track with some really nice solos. Also, almost kind of like a glam type sound with like Scaggs kind of seems to be channeling David Bowie a little bit in his vocal performance, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Also, really enjoy the choruses. It's a very fun hook with like having the "I'm Gone" like building that all around that. And I also really like the drums on this track a lot. There's a lot more to play around with and has like a lot more accented patterns to emphasize all the different sections. I think like I generally like this track, but it's just like not my favorite.
Nah, yeah. At one time I kind of like it's kind of almost had like a ragtime feel.
Yeah,
Toward the end, especially.
Yeah.
Right. I guess it's like different. You know,
like when it opens up, has like the fucking almost entertainer like riff on the piano.
Bum, 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 bum. Yeah. No, I think it's cool. It's like again, it's very experimental, which I kind of like. Like I feel like even though the words get repetitive, I feel like also even what he's saying as the music instruments change and everything kind of
like reflects that,
brings down or goes up. I feel like his vocals really kind of like it's kind of stick. It's like glue. Like you know wherever they're at, he's right there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's why I like this one. Aside from that, not a favorite of it. But the one thing I'll say is first lyrics. Think about maybe it could be also talking about getting high. The harder they go, the harder I ate. Get so high, down so low.
Okay.
So I was like, trying to look at like, you know, it's not. I don't think he meant it in that way, but it could be. You know, I don't know what his lifestyle was like.
True.
But if he's growing up in that time, probably was pretty nutty.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah,
You know?
Especially in the yacht rock scene. I think I read the other day there was some like production crew for some studio. They legit like kept cocaine like in their board.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
The yacht rock drug of choice.
It is the yacht rock drug. If we're talking lyrics, I have to say, I've never heard anybody be described as a skinny snake before. Are there fat snakes? Like,
or is it exclusively just skinny?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I guess we gotta ask Mr. Scaggs about that.
Oh man, it's crazy. The drums. The last thing I'll say is that they're low-key working overtime on this track.
Yeah, I think this is like one of their standout tracks on this album.
But I definitely can agree that it might suffer from being a little too long.
Yeah, especially with like that false ending it does, and then like restarts back again before going to the next track. It's kind of like, all right, like it's Jump Street, we get it.
Yeah, right. We've been there.
Yeah,
we're just there.
The next album can pull that off a little bit better, if I'm being honest. But no, honestly, I don't think it's that bad. But I probably also wouldn't return to it like I would with Georgia, or even with What Can I Say.
Next up, we have What Do You Want the Girl to Do? This has like kind of like a nice funk twist, which I dig a lot, with like this almost kind of like swinging shuffle beat. And I also really like how the string section is so present as well on this track. And also the backup vocals do a really nice job here as well. And the organ is fantastic.
This one really sounds like an intro to like a TV show or something, or like like a fixture in like a soundtrack in a movie.
It's funny, man. I when I was like listening to it, it made me think of kicking a can down the street.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why, but like I was like listening to it, I was like, I feel like this is like one of those songs, like some dude's hands in his pockets, you know, like walking down the street, head down, just kicking a can or so.
What do you want the girl to do?
I don't know. It's just I don't know. It really kind of just says like
This says what it's thinking.
Yeah,
right. There's not much depth to it. It's very surface level as far as the lyrics go.
Yeah, it's like I guess kind of like a sweet sentiment where it's like talking to this dude who like is kind of oblivious to like this girl who likes him. It's just like, hey, like she likes you, go for it, man. Like she's suffering because of you.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I can't get love.
Yeah.
Doesn't go for this.
It's like, bro,
you got somebody who wants you, man.
Yeah.
I kind of like how it's like a little shuffly.
Yeah.
Because even though it's like a nice come down after the last track, I would say that it's still like upbeat enough where I don't lose interest. I think another track, because of how slow it kind of feels, definitely suffers later down the line.
Mm-hmm.
But the chorus, I like the use of the organ.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's very, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to layer their keys really well in this album.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in good favor with me as a piano guy.
There's also like a lot of different like keyboards and like synthesizers like used on this album, which is really cool.
Yeah, there was some like suitcase kind of keyboard. There was like some Wurlitzer. They got some straight up like regular piano. So
Yeah,
The
good
one
mix.
on Lowdown was pretty sick.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that one's pretty cool.
love that one.
This is one of the ones where the percussion is just so exaggerated and it's really funny.
Yeah.
It really just strikes me as like an 80s song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got nothing else? We can move on to the first big ballad of this album. We have Harbor Lights, which I said kind of like gives it off almost city pop vibes, not like the slower side of it specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like I Can't Stop the Loneliness by Henri.
No. This is what's the song?
Is it the Rain one?
The Rain one.
Or You Are Not Alone, maybe?
Not You Are Not Alone. I think is it Teardrops in the Rain? I don't fucking remember. Listen to that episode that we talked about.
Great album, great episode.
Yeah, but this one it's fine for what it is. He is Kermiting a lot on this track, I will say. Really leaning to that vocal inflection style, which can be a little distracting. But he does have like a lot of emotion that he's conveying with his performance, which is nice. And there's also, I really like the intro of this track a lot, where he kind of like plays around with like more ambient sounds, having like the guitar. It's kind of like wailing through the channel with like this almost like percussive like ticking that travels like from like the right to the left, which is pretty cool. Really interesting choice for an opening for a ballad, but I think it's cool regardless.
Mm-hmm.
It adds atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah, this song reminded me if I was like playing Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I'm like walking around at like, right at the evening time, like by the water. I was like, this is what this kind of feels like to me. It's just, again, it's kind of the same thing. But the one thing I did like was in the lyrics, he mentioned Venus. Shining out from Venus, which is obviously the goddess of love from Roman. I thought it was kind of a cool tie-in. Like, you know, he put a little bit of like a
good imagery.
Right, yeah. So like, okay, that's like a cool thing right there. Again, kind of isolation though.
Yeah.
You know, wishing to be doing that and just by himself kind of still.
Exactly, as he looks over the harbor lights. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You could picture him.
One might say.
Sorry, you caught me in the middle of me looking at my notes, not gonna lie. I do like the riffs being played like in the suitcase keys.
Yeah.
But I've kind of found them a bit distracting at times from like listening to the lyrics and the vocals in a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they're so spread out like everywhere.
Uh-huh.
My like neurodivergent brain was like kind of like, wait, what's happening over here? But is what he's singing important? You know what I mean? But I did pick up the Venus reference, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The drums are like really nice and gentle, which I also think like adds to the overall vibe of the song too, which I like.
Yeah.
Again, probably not like my favorite. I think it's good for what it is, but I think this is kind of another example of, for me personally, really only favoring the more upbeat moments on this album.
Yeah. And I'd agree with that. I'd say this is probably like my preferred ballad over the closer.
That's fair.
Yeah. But again, it's not like anything like soup that I would like actively seek to return to besides listening to the full album. I also feel like the little kind of like jazzy calypso break at the very end just kind of comes out of nowhere. It's nice and fun. I don't know if it specifically like fits the overall tone of the track though.
It did throw me for a loop.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I can't lie. I was like, whoa, what is this one? It's
We in the next song? What's happening?
happening?
I'm so sad, but let's get jiggy with it real quick. You know what I mean?
Right? Speaking of getting jiggy.
Kind of feels like you're like sitting in like a studio or something.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, everybody just gets done the song and it's like, look around at each other like, we're not done yet.
Yeah, jam out.
Yeah, someone starts hitting something and everything starts hopping on.
Starts in that swing.
Yeah, right.
The client wants us to pick up the pace a little bit, so can we just that's the producer in the studio. Play something crazy.
Next up we have Lowdown, one of the big ones from the album. Very funky, which I dig a lot. It sounds so fucking smooth, and I love the flute inclusion on this.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Really like bolsters the melody so well. It's super vibey. The riff is also really satisfying. It's just a really awesome funk track that I found out was actually like played on like funk radios in like the 70s, which is pretty cool, and like disco stuff as well, which is like kind of sick. The post chorus sounds like very city pop to me, with like having like the horns and the strings like swell. There's also a dope ass guitar solo, and I love like the drums getting more of a chance to just fuck it up like entirely. It's just a really, really good song.
I think it's probably my favorite.
Yeah,
honestly, Lowdown. Like I love funk and stuff.
Yeah,
so
man.
I listened to
Funk
this, I
is
was
cool.
like, yes, like this is. It was such a fucking savior, honestly, because I got to these two, and I was like, maybe we turn this off. And I heard this, I was like, wait a minute.
Hold up.
We're gonna keep the record playing because I gotta see what's after this, man.
Scaggs really went, let me give you the lowdown, okay?
That's in the first half.
Yeah, no. When I heard the bass at first, I was like, oh, okay, this is the Fat Snake. You know what I mean? Like this bass line right here. Yeah.
That's what he means.
Here we go. I see it. Yeah, this track is definitely one of the high points. I love, again, like you said, the usage of like the flute.
Yeah, man.
And just the overall orchestra, because the strings really help like bolster everything, which I love. It almost feels like I'm living a life of luxury listening to this. Like something about it, just that's always the fun part about yacht rock. You kind of feel like you're on like the high life.
Yeah, man.
But you know, then it's
then
over.
reality sets
then
in.
reality sets
Then
in.
the little next track, it's over.
Exactly. Exactly. The stereo spread of the drums, this is like where I really felt like they were super emphasized here. So that was really, really cool. It's an all around just really good track.
Yeah, man.
I think you kind of said everything that I was going to say.
Apologies.
Potentially. The guitar and the other instruments are great. That's the last sentence I literally wrote.
And I would agree with that.
The only thing I think I got from the vocals was this girl is for the streets.
Yeah.
That's how I took it. And I was like,
That was the lowdown.
here's the lowdown. I love her, but she's for the streets.
What a way to describe someone.
Dude, Mr. Scaggs said it best.
That's crazy. Yeah, I love you, but you're for the streets. Just want to let you know. That's crazy.
But hey.
Now that that's over.
Oh shit.
It's over with this next track. Look at fucking Clay. Catch
Sound
it
the
on quick.
alarm.
That was the smooth transition alarm. Anyway, it's over. This one kind of goes back to more the soul feel of Georgia, I would say. And it kind of brings on like this like lady vocalist who kind of like supports him in the first half, and like they kind of switch like emphasis where like she kind of takes over for like the first verse, but then he kind of like brings it back to him beside on like the second, which is pretty cool. I like the chorus a lot, having like the horns in the right channel, and also having like the strings that kind of like mimic what the vocals are doing as well. I feel like it's a bit of a slow start because it almost kind of sounded like church music at the beginning. But like once it gets going, it's all right. The choruses are definitely what I prefer. There's also some really nice guitar work on the post chorus, and I like how they split the channels on this one with the drums. Is where I kind of saw the channel mixing the best.
I'm getting a lot of like Christopher Cross vibes from like this track in particular. Yeah.
Word.
That's about it.
I think the one thing I want to say about this is like I think it's interesting in this album and in the next one. There's this concept of it's over and then it's kind of coming back.
Yeah.
Kind of like trying to give up on something. You know, he's like trying in this one to be like, I'm not really into you. You might say that, you know, and then telling her to go away, so far away. It's too late to turn back now. He's kind of like pushing her away. Like, I don't really want you. I don't even need you.
Yeah.
And so I liked that. I was like thinking about it like that. I don't know. I didn't really get much from the song itself. It was kind of just a background track. When I listened to it, I remember I had to like re-listen to it because I was like, okay, like it wasn't as poppy.
Exactly.
Especially coming off from Lowdown.
Oh yeah,
you know that's like
that's gonna be hard to follow up.
Such a peak, and then it's just like
it literally is over.
Floor drops out.
Yeah,
floor drops out. It's like, oh shoot, we're here now. Oh,
all right, back half of the album. Here we go.
Yeah. Right.
I wrote here in my notes like I think the theme of the song is just like the only thing that most yacht rock artists will like talk about, like, where's my baby? I want her to come back.
Yeah.
Baby, oh shit, it's over? Why don't you love me back? I miss you.
Michael McDonald.
And then they do coke.
And then they do coke.
And then they do in that particular order.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
But I can acknowledge it's a good song, but I would definitely say this, again, is not one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's just kind of generic in like the grand scheme of the album, but it's not bad by any means. I wouldn't say any of them are really bad by any means.
Nah, definitely, like, there's no bad tracks on here. I just, like you said, just some outshine others. Next up, we have Love Me Tomorrow. This is another very funky track. Has a very awesome grooving bass line, and I love, like, the upbeat hi-hats that open up a lot. Almost gives me like a dub feel, like a little bit like a reggae offshoot.
Yeah, I was thinking reggae too.
Yeah, with like how it grooves, and also like with the tamale inclusion, like accenting the percussion, which is super dope. Also love like how emphasized the piano work is on this track too. That's very nice. Yeah.
Let's see. They mention a person named Dijon.
They do,
like the mustard.
Yep.
I think that's actually spelled with an I because they spell with an E in the lyrics. This one. Congratulations, you named your kid after a mustard.
That's pretty sick.
I mean, I guess.
You see your name everywhere.
That's true. You can't really say that for like Clem. Well, there's Clementine. That was a bad example. Guys, talk about the song. What did you like about it?
The song kind of reminds me of Surrender by Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Okay.
Which is fun. Yeah, definitely was not expecting like Boz Scaggs to do reggae.
No.
But I think it kind of works to the overall like tropical-ish nature of this.
Totally.
So yeah, I definitely liked what I was hearing. The instrumentation is like really, really good.
And again, like I said before, like leaving it and then coming back, like Love Me Tomorrow, like now he's fighting to have her. And it's just, I don't know. The guy just kind of doesn't really seem to get it, man. I love when he names drop people, you know? Like, name drop Georgia, name drop Dijon.
There's another one down the line later. Like, as if we know these people.
Yeah, right. Like, these are real life people, possibly, right? Well, this guy's just name dropping one of the possibly hardest albums. You know what I'm saying? You got a 5-time.
Yeah, 5 times platinum, dude.
5 times platinum. I mean, you got to think, like, your name got played in, like, how many different stores?
Yeah.
And, you know, like,
Dijon.
I love, like, name drops people. It's amazing. This
I know.
guy's the ultimate, just, like, post on Twitter.
Doxing them.
Yeah, right. Nah, fuck this guy.
Fucking, like, one of the lyrics is just, like, her IP address.
Yeah, right. Just sings it out. Groovy ass, like, little drum.
112.3.
Yeah, in case anybody wants to network into her router real quick.
Exactly.
Yeah, or use Dante or some shit.
That's a really good point. That's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
I really dig the key solo on this track a lot. It's very nice. I love how it rings through both channels as it plays. It sounds very jazzy with like the light airy tone of the keys. And it's like a nice like inclusion on this track. Very interesting change up, which I dig a lot, though much like It's Over, that's probably something I wouldn't return to outside the album.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about like the keys on this track, this is the one where they like strike a chord on the piano, but then they have like the E piano swelling underneath of it.
Yeah.
Almost as if it's like one instrument, and it's really, really cool actually. Like it really makes it feel more cohesive as a band.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
They're crazy. Toto, crazy instrumentalist.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Gotta love Toto.
Yeah. Their first album. People talk about the Africa album.
Yeah.
Their first album is so good.
Yeah.
Georgie Porgy. That fucking song rules. Like, oh my God. Anyway.
Maybe a future episode.
We should.
Yeah.
We should give Tom, because is it Toto 5 or 4 with Africa?
I think it's 4.
We should give Tom Toto 4.
Yeah. We'll keep that in the back pocket.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We do need recommendations, everybody, for those who are engaging with our content. So
that we do. Got recommendations, leave them down in our comments on Spotify or YouTube, and maybe we'll get around to it.
Or DM us. At Family Album Pod, which I always forget to tell you guys. We have an Instagram.
Yes.
Go join it.
Yeah, please follow us for updates and funny moments from episodes.
And potentially the next Bad Album Bowl.
True.
That would be fun.
But that'll be down the line.
Yeah.
And speaking of on the line, let's move on to this next track, Lido Shuffle, who's crossing that line to the border.
Yeah, that guy.
Okay. Before we talk about the actual track itself, I have kind of a gripe with this song.
Okay.
Because I guess like driving with your dad is kind of another running theme of this episode. So I used to drive with my dad a lot. Like he would pick me up from school, and we have like Sirius XM or whatever. I think it was either like the Yacht Rock channel or like Bridge or something like that. They play this song all of the time. I'm not gonna lie to you, because when I saw Boz Scaggs and I looked on the album and I saw Lido Shuffle, I went into this with like a real bad attitude. I gotta be honest. I was like, fuck me. It's just gonna be dad rock for like 40 minutes. But I was pleasantly surprised with like the remainder of the album for sure. But for those passive listens where I tried to just ignore Lido Shuffle being on the radio for like the 19th time, that was one thing. But I will say, as an active listen, there is a lot to appreciate about it.
It's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, it's a fun song.
The horns, the way they're like
so good.
stacked up and absolutely like wailing in your face, like it's intimidating, but like in the best way.
Oh, for real.
Who is Lido? Like, that's what I want to know.
He's a gambling man.
Exactly.
Jared Lido?
Runner from the mob. I think. Yeah.
Something like that.
Run from some group of people.
Shuffling
some
from the
bad
mob.
apples.
Somebody who does not want him alive.
Exactly.
And then Boz Scaggs is just watching him run away from like the fucking mafia.
He sees some guy coming in like tarnished, sweat, and he grabs a drink real quick. He's like, "What are you doing? Running from the mob. I'm in deep with the loan sharks." He's like,
Wait,
that's a song.
Say
killer
that
song.
again.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on a second. Tell me more. Grabs a pen and paper.
Looks like you're shuffling out of here real fast, buddy.
What'd you say? You're shuffling out.
The one thing I did like about this though too is the kind of like the risky business feel to it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It kind of has this like, you know, in relation to the other one,
Yeah.
it has this feeling of like, this is not a person you want to be like hanging around
No.
with, you know, getting into some deep shit,
Yeah.
but it's catchy as
That
fuck.
it is. Really good drum beat. I love the triplet shuffle for like all the instrumentals. The bass line grooves so fucking nice.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I love it.
Everything's so tight on here. A comparison I made to this song, it was at this point in the album, like on my first listen, when I realized this album, and I feel like this era of Boz Scaggs, is probably the closest you get to Billy Joel without listening to Billy Joel. Because
Okay.
this track, I feel like really just embodies a lot of Billy Joel's like fucking
style.
only the good die young
Yeah.
kind of like, you know what I mean?
I can see that.
There's
yeah.
like there's definitely a Venn diagram there, especially with like the emphasis on the piano work, I would feel.
Oh, totally.
But yeah, no,
It's fun.
it is. I love the horns.
Speaking of piano, the key solo is so fucking good on this one. I love how it just like keeps like getting louder and louder and just like layered and layered. It also just has fucking Toto written all over. It's like you can see
yeah.
exactly where they're going after this album. It's proto Toto, if you will. Pro Toto.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, for Toto. That's smooth.
It's incredible. We can merch that real quick,
Exactly.
honestly. Yeah.
For Toto.
For Toto.
For Toto.
I don't think it's as catchy as White Man on the Verge of Rapping, though.
Or mid-leaning ass.
Mid-leaning ass. We have some classic family album bangers we got to make merch of.
For Toto. We coined it here on the family album.
Yeah.
It's another band's name that we're taking credit for.
Exactly.
But then one thing I want to say more about the Lido Shuffle, as I said, you know, before, a lot of, I feel like, turns of isolation. A lot of this by himself, kind of being upset and all this. Even though this song isn't even actually about him, he's talking about this other guy. He's kind of also isolated by his own addiction.
Exactly.
I forget exactly the line, but it's something like, you know, he's a man on the run, like, so
Yeah,
nobody else with him. He's just
Yeah.
kind of like trapped in his own hell. Which I think is kind of interesting, you know, for being such a groovy song.
Yeah.
It's kind of a dismal story.
Yeah.
You know, and
This dude gets wrapped up in like gambling and like possibly the mob and has to like flee the country to go to the border.
right. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, I feel like a lot of these songs, if you just like, I was reading like the lyrics, and there's not a ton of difference. But when you look at it, it's like, this is a sad song. And they
Yeah.
were just like, but we're going to make it groovy as hell.
Exactly.
We're going to dance.
Yeah, but we're gonna dance
God
to
damn
this.
it.
We're gonna shuffle on Lido's corpse.
I wonder if everybody like who was part of this was like, heard this song, was like,
Yo, Boz. Yo, Scaggs.
yeah, right.
What the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, right. They calls him like, bro, you're not supposed to tell him my name. You know,
Oh, yeah. He doxed her in front of them.
they're still after my ass.
That's crazy. I do have a question before we get to the final track, though. The title of the album, Silk Degrees, is there like any like reason as to why it's called that?
I was looking this up on the Wikipedia. He apparently just like wrote that on like a napkin. Like, it was just kind of like spur of the moment. Basically, he said like his philosophy for a lot of like writing song titles specifically was that it's just like very spur of the moment. It's always the last thing he does when writing a song. So I think
fair.
that also goes for the album as well.
Interesting
Gotcha.
too. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Jump Street was a song written by Boz himself in 10 minutes.
I heard about that.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So
Okay.
he needed he wanted to fill up the spot, and he's like, I'm just gonna make something that goes to the vibe, which I feel is also why we also kind of
Yeah.
all agreed it's kind of a filler song. I meant to
I
say that
see.
earlier, I forgot, but yeah, that's a
Interesting.
10-minute song that he wrote.
That's pretty impressive.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, think about it like that. It's like, okay, that's, you know, that's why the lyrics are kind of just like
whatever.
basic, like it's
it's like more jam focused.
right, which I
Yeah.
think was badass.
It's impressive.
Yeah, something.
We finish off with "We're All Alone," the Kermit ballad, as I dub it, as he really leans on those inflections a lot.
I feel like it bookends the album, the Kermit voice, honestly. You start off with it, and he's like, I'm going to give you some more. And then he's like, yeah.
I'm alone.
He was giving us a little appetizers.
Exactly.
And then he just punched us right in the face of the full meal.
That's true. That's true.
I feel like it's fine. It's a nice kind of yacht rocky ballad. As I said, I think I prefer Harbor Lights over it. And I guess it's kind of cool how like the fifth increments of 5, the album has like a ballad where it's like more upbeat ballad, more upbeat ballad. It's kind of like a nice kind of like formula for the album. I really like the last chorus though. The flow of his lyrics are very satisfying, and there's also some nice like emotional depth to his performance, which is cool. And also the strings really shine on this track. Solid closer, but not my favorite.
I think I like this one more than Harbor Lights.
Okay.
Only because I feel like his vocals, aside from Kermit the Frog,
Yeah.
I feel like when he starts like really going higher in his range, you really can just like feel the passion of what he's singing about, which I really appreciate, especially like to put in a really grandiose like finale of the album.
Yeah.
It felt like it really closed the album well. which I think this one definitely works as a closer for sure. I don't know if I would add it to any playlist. I feel like it could go either way. Like I might. No, I think it's a pretty serviceable closer. The instrumentation is also pretty great. This is another one where the kick drum is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Where there's like thuds in the left channel.
I mean, I'll be honest, I kind of like this one. I can't lie.
Yeah.
I like just, you saying it's a good closer. It felt like, yeah, so this is definitely the end.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, this is the end of the story, which I mean, it is, because they're all alone. They're
Exactly.
together now, neath the waves, he says. So they're just kind of spending eternity together. So it's like, at least he finally got it.
Exactly.
It's like, that's, at least like of me, it's like, thank God. Like, if I listened to this guy for 10 songs and he didn't get this chick, or some chick, like, bro, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Like, you wasted a lot of time writing a song, but you could have been out there trying to get her back.
Why you fucking with Lido? Get some bitches.
Listen, we're all alone now. Let me give you the lowdown, okay?
But I did like it though. I feel like I feel like it kind of like took an element out of almost every song.
Yeah.
And kind of put it into this in a certain way. Not so much groove, but it's still
sort of
a nice amount
like
of
topic.
Right.
Yeah. But if we got nothing else, we can move on to our final thoughts. But Clay, what did you think of Silk Degrees by Boz Scaggs?
Again, I mean, as we've said hundreds of times, I'm pretty sure by now, the instrumental is what made me really want to pick this album. I wasn't really listening to like the lyrics at the time. We were just cooking, so I was just listening to like the actual instruments, and I was like, whoa, like that's such a cool ass album. Overall, I think it's beautifully done. All the artists who were on it, including Boz himself, you know, all great artists. It was a great combination. And I think that's kind of one of the best things about music when you see people come together. As we see after this.
Yeah.
When you have collaborators who are all on the same level and possibly even above, it doesn't really matter. At that point, they're, legends of this shit.
Yeah.
And it's just when you get these kinds of people in a room and you like
Just
draw
mesh.
that out, it's a beautiful thing. You really see it worked well. There's a lot of chemistry between everything here. Like, it feels right.
Cohesive.
Right. It feels like it's a put together project, I'd say. Definitely got his point across. We know.
Yeah.
We know. He didn't like beat around the bush at all.
No.
Took it straight.
Said
on.
what he was thinking.
Yeah, right.
He beat a horse to death, but he didn't beat around the bush.
Like, we understand, I guess now. So personally, like I think there's a couple songs that I would like put on a playlist, maybe.
Totally.
Yeah, definitely.
But overall, I wouldn't find myself, I think, listening to this album a ton. Like, it's like a certain mood type of feeling.
Yeah.
I gotta be feeling some kind of way to listen to this kind of music.
I totally agree with that. If you had to give it a number rating or a letter grade.
Or both. Sometimes I do both.
I see. Okay, you know what? I like that. So I'm gonna go like a 6.5 B+.
Okay.
Like, because if I had to say like rating, numbers wise, if I would listen to it again, like listenability, like it's kind of hard. I can't lie. Like to listen front to back, but the actual vocals and it's like it's it's just not something I want to have on in the background. But that's just me personally. But everything else wise, I had to give it a B+. I mean, everybody killed it.
Exactly.
They laid it all out there, and I appreciate that, and I love that. So
I think it's very fair. Matt, what'd you think?
I really liked it, actually. I feel like this nice collection of yacht rock songs really like explores the various facets of the genre at the time, showcasing like the smooth instrumentation and like kind of shifting moods, even though it's talking about like the same thing for the most part.
Yeah.
But I could definitely infer like notable strengths in the instrumentation, like including like the bass lines, the horns, the strings, the really creative rhythmic elements in here, which is really, really fun. Some of the vocal performances are a little less favored.
Yeah.
But I would say the overall like sonic tone of this album, like the sound, I don't know why I phrase it as sonic tone, is really rich and varied, ranging from like upbeat and energetic tracks to a couple of like more mellow and introspective. I feel like it's all pretty introspective, but like you only notice it when it's like in the slower moments.
Yeah.
But it's fun though. The album features moments of like instrument complexity and some pretty surprising musical choices, much like the ragtime and the calypso beat. Like it's fun. Some of these tracks resonate more strongly than others for me. Yeah. But I can say like ultimately I can't say that I hate it. I feel like I would most definitely return to this album in full. Maybe not like all the time, but I can definitely see myself like throwing this on if I'm in like a particular kind of mood. So I'm probably gonna give it like you a B+, and then I'd say like 6.5, six and a half, somewhere in there.
All right. So,
Yeah,
so the
so
same
right
exact
on.
rating.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Nice. I didn't actually write out any final thoughts. It's gonna be off the dome. I think this is definitely like a solid album. Not at all what I was expecting from Boz Scaggs, just based off Lido Shuffle, which I was pleasantly surprised by.
Me too. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Like the different genre implementation was like such a nice treat hearing him do like funk, soul, like calypso and ballads. He does those like pretty well for the most part. But I feel like the instrumentation is what truly shines on this album and is what I would be coming back for mostly. Like the bass work, the drums, the strings, the horns, the guitars, like when they get their moments are all fantastic. The keys especially are always fantastic. I feel like honestly Boz Scaggs is probably the weakest part of this album, surprisingly. Like he has his moments, of course, but I feel like the Kermit vocal inflections are kind of like a takeaway. As well as just some like more bloat from like the ballady tracks or Jump Street, which can kind of just like make the album feel like a little sluggish. Not too much because it's a it's an album on the shorter side.
Yeah.
But just like some moments kind of drag a little bit, and I also feel like some choices don't really mesh well, like the calypso ending on Harbor Lights. Even though it's good musically, I feel like it doesn't fit quite well. Lyrically, it's nothing like too special. It's pretty standard, though there is like the consistent theme of like isolation, which is pretty cool to pick up on. And I'm glad he does have his happy ending, so it's just all for naught. Yeah.
Better after all that.
Exactly.
Yeah, for real.
I don't really think I would revisit this album super often, most likely just the couple tracks that I picked off from. I'd probably give this like a B- or a C+. I was probably leaning on the more positive side, so I'll go B-. Yeah, I think it's solid enough for what it is, but not my favorite. But this next album, I feel like I might have a little more energy on this one.
This next
Yeah.
album is crazy.
Songs for the deaf.
I had like listened to it in passing at my work because I have a couple of rock heads that I work with. We have an aux that we all share, and I've heard like bits and pieces of some of these songs played like on our like tweeter and subwoofer.
Yeah.
But this was a really cool active listen.
Yeah,
for
man.
Sure. I think a new favorite of mine, not to completely spoil. But
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
No, this is a really sweet record. Shall I jump into some history?
Sure.
Please.
So, Songs for the Deaf by Queens of the Stone Age was released on August 27th of 2002 through Interscope Records and is the third studio album under the name Queens of the Stone Age. Members of the band include Josh Homme, I think is what it is.
I think that's how you pronounce
I
it.
think my coworker today, said it was like Home.
Okay.
Don't ask me, man. I'm bad with bad names. We learned that.
He was the main vocalist and guitarist. Nick Oliveri on bass and vocals is actually the last album in which he was on in the name Queens of the Stone Age. Dave Grohl on drums,
So fucking
which
cool.
was insane.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of which, I don't know if you knew this, but for the drums in this record, they mixed a real kit and an electronic kit.
Oh, really?
Damn.
That's so fucking cool.
Yeah, they had him record the drums for all the songs twice.
That's pretty sweet.
one on a real, one on a fake one.
Nice.
It's really cool. And then Mark Langen on additional vocals. Produced by Josh Homme, Adam Casper, who is a grunge and hard rock producer, and Eric Valentine, which is just all-around rock producer, and producer of Weezer's Pacific Daydream.
Oh, wow. What a winner.
This album garnered a lot of international positive reception, with critics saying things like this year's best hard rock album, an album that is hard as titanium, and even the greatest hard rock record of the 21st century.
Wow.
Damn.
The record touches upon many common themes of metal and hard rock with dead-sounding drums, very sonic versatility of tracks, and even radio ad breaks because, to quote Oliveri, it was because of how a lot of stations play the same things over and over again. We don't get played on the radio, so I figure we should try and talk shit about them, which is pretty badass.
It's a really cool concept for an album.
Especially at the time. I mean, the
Yeah,
radio
man.
was huge. I mean, that was your way of getting out.
Yeah.
So,
Hami, as one last thing to say, Hami later says that this, combined with the variety of rock heard all across the album, is what gives the album its nice concept. Between like the ad breaks and it feels like you're phasing in and out of like different tracks by like
Yeah.
flipping the channels.
It's so cool.
It's a nice like concept to kind of rest the album's theme on, but it's also like not so overbearing. and I feel like really well done.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's very fun.
It's just a really cool flavor for the whole album.
I would definitely say so.
But I guess without further ado, shall we hop right into it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, this album opens up with the real song for the deaf. Very ominous kind of intro, very unnerving, having like these like very crunchy dissonant synths just kind of like pop up, and like this like kind of elongated silence before you start hearing noise, and then it's just like very kind of like tense.
I don't do well when like albums open with like a bunch of silence.
Yeah.
From what I've learned of Mr. Bungle, like, oh my God, like it's so unnerving. There's like another moment later on the album where it's just the silence, and I was like, oh my God, I am so on edge right now. But yeah, no, it is pretty cool though, especially since like the real songs for the deaf, you can just like barely hear something. I think you can hear like a slight like voice going like, what did you say? And then everything after that, and it's like, wow. That's going to be me in like 40 years. Probably.
No, it's so funny you said like the eerie feeling. That's exactly what I wrote down. And I also said, I mean, I don't know if this is a word or not. Ghoulishness.
I did use that word at some point in my notes.
Okay. So it's like, it kind of like, it lets you know what you're about to get into. It's like, this is going to be weird. It's going to be dark. And it's like, it kind of amps you up a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you have songs where it's like a huge instrumental intro and it gets you hype. Yeah. Then this is just like, ooh, what's about to happen?
Like an edge of your seat.
Right. Especially, after this, the next one. So it's just like, I feel like it's like a lot of times it feels like a lot of the album is almost consistent. Yeah, with itself. Like there's not many, like the pauses are purposeful. Like, they did it themselves. It's not just like in between the songs. Yeah. Like if you listen to them back to back, it just flows. There's times you don't even realize you're in a new song. And especially like later on when like the radio is on two of them. Yep. So intros in and you're like, wait a minute. Like when how did we get to this
so
one?
Awesome.
It's really
I love how they mix it.
I just need to point out, because I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if you looked at the full personnel, but Dean Ween was on this album.
Was he really?
Dean Ween did tracks 6, 9, and 14.
Dude, for real?
Which is so fitting because, like, of course he would be on an album like this with sort of the psychedelic nature of, like, this album in, like, parts, but also just, like, the weirdness of it.
Damn, he did Sky Has Fallen?
I'm pretty sure. The 3 longest songs, he was on all 3 of them.
That fucking rules.
Damn.
Hell yeah.
I have a feeling he probably was also did some guitar work on like the songs where it's like dun 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 dun, because that's like Ween right there. That whole like strumming pattern, I feel like just a really bouncy rock. So
that's fucking awesome, dude.
It was really, really cool. Same with I think Chris Goss is also on here. I forget where he's from, but he's a notable name somewhere. I forget.
Damn.
You got the Pacific Daydream Weezer producer.
Got all these legends in one place.
He specifically produced Mexican Fender, Beach Boys, and I think another track that you really like off of that album, AJ. I forget. That's AJ's favorite
Don't
Weezer
put words
album.
in my mouth, Matt. He's already did this in the intro.
Oh, man. But, oh my gosh.
When you said psychedelic, too, a little fun fact, Josh, he talks about how when he was writing a lot of his music, he'd go out into the desert and do a fuck ton of meth.
Oh, wow.
And like have these insane, like, like musical creations and stuff. So I think it's interesting you say psychedelic because I feel like that's
it's a constant theme.
It's a constant, like, but it's like a lot of their music too. You can kind of always get that feeling of like this is a like a one at a time creation. Yeah. Like, this is wonky. This is not something you could like fake up. This is like it's raw. It's so like you can feel it in your hands.
This is like the right place, right time. Everybody in the room is just an antenna feeding the inspiration cloud into existence.
Yeah, man.
And making a product that is just so timeless as a rock classic.
I'd say so.
Yeah, no, this album fucking rips. And I can't wait to keep talking about the rest of the tracks.
Speaking of that, next up we have You Think I Ain't Worth a Dollar, But I Feel Like a Millionaire. This is where we get the first bit of the radio stations with KLON, Clone Radio. Great bit. I love the commentary on that. And it's just like a fucking jump scare when you hop into it, where you have like the subtle guitar riff that goes in before it just fucking hits you and everything gets like so clear. I love that moment so much.
I fucking love this track like a lot. That guitar riff is incredible. It's like so dissonant, but it works so well.
And just like you were saying, it's kind of like low. It also just sounds like it's on a radio.
Exactly.
So it's like, you feel like, oh, okay, we're just on a radio. And then when it hits, it's like almost
becomes clean.
It's like almost like the band just appeared in front of you. And you're like now seeing it, like, oh shit. Like they're not just there.
This is the album.
Yeah, this is over here.
They do this twice on this record, and both times it works so well. Right. Like I love it so much.
I agree. I love the instrumental break before the second verse, and the main riff is also just fantastic. Also love just how tom heavy the drums are on this track. They're so crisp, they pack so much punch. And also like the kind of like classic rock guitar solo, like how it's inspired by that. It just feels like so over the top, but like also blends the grunge and metal like inspired riffs like so well. Also, just the lyrics are just a lot of fun, and just like their syncopation and the vocal performance is great.
I gotta say too, like really all across this album, I'd say really interesting percussive choices, like having claps like in the sides, like on every other beat or whatever. It's just, I don't know, like you're really getting in the weeds with it now. It feels like you're you're going down a spiral, but hey, it's also a fun, happy like pop song with claps. I love that. And I feel like that also kind of plays into the fact that it's making fun of radio stations.
Yeah.
You know, like it kind of like shoves it in your face a little bit, but like it doesn't detract from the enjoyment.
No, it only adds to it.
It's really, really cool.
I also love how they constantly change up like the way they use the vocals in the songs.
Yeah.
It's being like so like guttural, screaming, and then like other songs it's like
just smooth.
Just smooth. And I think that really amps that up. Like if it was like it was other kind of vocals that are later in the track, it'd go hard, but not nearly as hard. And also I like the tons of drug references.
Yep.
You know, really, it's really right from the bat, already telling you what you're getting into, what this story is about to be about, which I like that. It's like, you know, kind of like alluding to things, which is not so upfront. You know, like the last album is a lot more time, but this one, you know, you have to think about it. And there's a couple of things I actually wrote down about lyrics they had, and I loved them. Like, that's such a cool symbolism right there. And I think that's, you know, I think they do that really well, especially on this one.
I'd agree.
I would definitely agree. Oh my gosh.
I think this is like a solid, like true opener to the album. And I think it's also followed up by their most popular song, No One Knows. I actually didn't know this was Queen of the Stone Age until I listened to this album. I was like, oh shit, it's this song. It's like, damn.
I know Dean Ween is credited for other songs on the record, but I have a very hard time believing he didn't do guitars on this track.
Yeah.
This like this feels like Gabrielle, like a little bit, you know. That's like quite literally one of his main strumming styles. But this is a really cool track. You almost get like a Mike level, or wait, Freudian slip, my bad. You almost get a Mike Patton level of vocal trade-off with this record between like the screaming and like the straight tone, like you mentioned. So it's really cool to see the dichotomy of that between tracks, especially on this track.
I think it's also they have different vocalists. I think that their bassist did the last track. I think he sang that one. I think he also sang Six Shooter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But and then this is a Hami, right? Yeah. So it's cool that they like just like play with like everything that they have, and like they always do it so well. Really dig the metaphors in the lyrics. They're very trippy and add to the overall tone of like the entire album just being about drugs. The drum beat is like, it's pretty cool, as though it's like it's just really just straight ahead like quarter notes for the verses, but then just like fucking explodes on the choruses. The bum, it's so fucking nice. It's their best track, or their most well-known track for a reason. Solo sounds like super rootsy, and it has like these kind of like mellotron like keys / horns that are in there, which is super dope. It's just a really cool song.
I like again how we're like setting up the story here. I guess I feel like I'd say a lot. Like this is what I feel like when I'm like listening to music. I see images. I guess. So it's like I just kind of picture things, and that's how I feel about a lot like songs. And this one I felt like, you know, we're in this like van. Just booking it down this random road, and everybody in this van is like reckless. You know, everybody just wants to do something stupid. You know, it's like, oh, okay. Like, and it kind of feels like we don't even know where we're going at this point. Like we have no real destination, kind of all heading out. But I kind of like, cause it, you know, isolation I feel is a big part of it. You know, one I got from both these albums, but it's kind of nice right here because you realize we're all kind of together. At this point. But it's like a journey through the mind of the desert with no hope. So it's like, although we're all together, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we're alone ourselves.
Right.
There are a lot of other things about this track too, like tiny things that I really appreciated. I love the fact that there's like vocals really far right in the channel and like really far left vocals in the left channel, because like they're harmonizing with one another, and it almost reminds me of like how Surf Wax America is like on the Blue Album. You know what I'm talking about? Like, and like with these harmonies that you don't really think would work that much, but like works so well for what they're trying to go for. Which is really, really fun. Gives a lot of Boys Are Back in Town vibes, but I do fuck with it a lot. Like genuinely. I fuck with that song too, but I fuck with this a bit more, I would say. And then the bass just adds so much flavor, which is so fucking cool. I also love just the ending of this song.
Dude, the ending is so good with those accented triplets, the bum 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 bum. Love that moment.
This is also the one where it's like it switches the channels and it's like the Spanish radio station and then like the mariachi band and like that shit is so cool. Yeah.
Got nothing else. We can move on to First It Giveth. I really like this track a lot.
This is my favorite track on this record.
I can see why, man.
It's top 3 for me, man.
Yeah.
I love this one.
It's really fucking good. I love the chorus of this track a lot. It's very sick. Gives me like kind of like some classic like 80s metal cheese in like the best way possible. The acoustic guitar switch up is also so fucking good in between like the choruses and the verses.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's also like kind of like punk feeling with like the drum beat. And I just like love how the guitar just like chugs and the tambourine that's like hidden in the left channel that like keeps the groove going. This is just a really awesome track.
How do they pull off picking that fast? It's crazy.
It's
like
insanity, man.
Especially over like a drum beat like that that's like constantly fucking changing. It's wild. Like this track is so cool in many different ways because like it's so like abstract in a way, but like you understand.
Yeah.
Like what it's trying to say. Like it's laid out like a poem, like a really like abstract poem, I feel like, in the lyrics. And it's I would argue easily the catchiest of like all the tracks.
I mean, for this album, although the instruments are amazing, and they obviously are, the vocals, the vocals really like I guess stuck out to me in this one. Everything else does when you like when you're active listening to it, you're hearing everything. But it's like the vocals on this were just so cool, and I love his like imagery of kind of just life and trying to chase this, you know, like you're hitting this high, but you're never really staying there, and that's just like everything, you know, which is like kind of like the whole thing. But like life, drugs, success, whatever he's up to, it's like he keeps hitting this point, but then it just falls.
Yep.
So he's kind of just on this like wave, and I think that's kind of symbolic of how the music sounds too.
Yeah,
for real.
It's fucking epic, man. I was getting like real System of a Down vibes.
Okay.
Which is really, really fun.
In terms of just like the speed.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that.
I also think that the guy, when he kind of does like less of like the typical metal like screeching, he kind of does like a nice melodic thing.
Yeah. I do like how he like switches it up. It's very nice.
It's cool. I really like it.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks,
next,
AJ.
Of course, dude. Anytime. Next up, we have Song for the Dead. This is another kind of jump scary track where we have like this ominous, almost like haunted house intro before like you hear the guitar and like just like strumming in the left channels. The drums just kind of like fill around. It's a really awesome intro to do that. Again, another very punky track, which I dig. Love that the drums are especially like emphasizing like that style of music. Also, this is where I noticed like the production on this album is like super cool. It's very lo-fi, but it's like still really polished. So it's like you get best of both worlds.
This one's cool because like they're like really going at it like in the instrumentation. Like they're playing to their heart's content. And I don't know how many takes they had of this song, but in the middle of the song, you hear, I think, Josh Homme just go, "Fuck it." And I don't know if that's because they like made a mistake and they're like, let's keep it in. But if so, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like it adds to kind of the humor of this band, which I really enjoy.
I like the almost like a feeling of immortality. I feel like when I was listening to this song,
Okay.
like, you know, even though it's a song for the dead, it almost kind of feels like we're all just thinking like we can't get touched. You know what I'm saying? And like, and then especially because he's like originally describing all these terrible things, you know, and the argument of driving under the influence, and then later he's like, why don't you just go and do the same? Like, why don't we all just, you know, like say screw it? You know,
we're still alive at this point,
right? Yeah, but it's like that feeling of like nothing can touch us.
Yeah,
which I think is like huge, especially for a lot of these guys who are living these crazy lifestyles. Like how many of their friends and their people that, you know, you guys seen The Dirt, you know, Motley Crue, like how many times that happened to so many different and all different kinds of shit. So it's like I feel like it's almost like kind of touching on that there too, like almost like a song for like all their fallen friends, almost kind of like, you know, we're never actually dead. Like, you know, let's do this one more time, like just maybe reminiscing on that.
Yeah, like they'll live on.
Right.
I love like the backing vocals on this track too, just how they're kind of like wailing in the background, and there's like a nice little subtle influence of like 50s and 60s camp horror.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Like with the grimness of it, but like Scooby-Doo.
Oh my God.
What I mean?
Especially on like one of the later tracks, dude.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I feel like having like the backing vocals wail just really makes it feel like it is indeed the song of the dead. You know what I mean? So it's really fucking fun.
Yeah, man.
The guitar solo in the middle absolutely rips.
I love it. Love how like they have the dueling guitars in both channels too.
Over top of the organ.
Yeah,
like,
so
oh
fucking
my God.
nice.
It's so cool.
It's almost like a theremin too in the background during that part, which is fucking
yeah.
dope. Yeah.
I love it. They really pulled out all the stops. They absolutely go sicko mode at the end. Like it's incredible. And I love when they do the fake stop.
Yeah.
It's very, very fun. I check my headphones. I'm like, wait, the fuck? Did it just pause? I'm like,
Jump
oh,
scare.
never mind.
Yeah.
It's back. Wow.
First it giveth, then it taketh away, dude.
Oh, man.
Next up, we have a favorite of mine. We have The Sky Is Fallen. Now even more of a favorite because fucking Diener's on here. It's dope as fuck.
It's really cool.
It's a nice cool down from what we've been hearing before. Has almost kind of like an Eastern influence in terms of like the vocal stylings in the intro as well as the guitar work. Also love the bass lines, like where it's like I feel like one of the most prominent moments, which I dig a lot. Love the lead up in the intro having like a heavier main riff, and I also love the lyrical syncopation of this track, as well as just like how like airy and almost like upbeat the choruses is. It's like minor, but it's like kind of like triumphant in a way. It's very interesting. I really like how this track is like split up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think like it's just kind of the name of the song, but things are coming undone, wheels are falling off, so you can start to feel like that chaos. Like last song, I feel like it was controlled chaos. It was chaos where it was still the roof was still on. Now it's like, all right, roof's blown off. What do we do now? And it's like everybody's kind of going nuts. And also I like the realizing of the waste of life from before this. So I feel like these kinds of two are connected in my head because it's just like that was pretty stupid. Like now we're here. Now we're about to die. We're not immortal anymore. We're looking at death. And now we're here. And I also really enjoyed the radio as it's kind of self-referencing itself the whole time. But then it's almost right at the end, it's like, well, we're out here. And it's like,
elastic gas.
Are they with us? Like, it's kind of plays on that too. Like, is the radio host with us too?
Yeah.
It's not just in one space, only so many people.
A nice fourth wall break almost.
Yeah.
In terms of like the rhythm, I love like is it like 6/8?
It's 6/8, yeah.
Yes. Music theory. All those
Coming in
years
clutch.
of it, coming in clutch. I love how it's like a 6/8 feel with this song because like adding like a waltz like rhythmic texture to this makes it feel like it's madness inducing almost.
Yeah.
And it's like a really, really nice like the sky is falling, but let's waltz
exactly.
real quick. You know what I mean? A waltz of madness.
Like Dance with Death.
Exactly. I love how the guitar is like doing the subdivided beats in between the drum hits.
It's so fucking good.
It's so fucking cool. Like, oh my God. They really just don't waste a moment in any of their tracks. And this is one of the best examples of it.
Yeah.
I definitely like this song. At first I had said I'm not sure if it would be like a top track of mine, but it really grew on me. So
I quite like it.
It's pretty cool.
I really like that the intro instrumental comes back after like every chorus. I think that's really cool. That's like a nice motif throughout.
Yeah.
Also, I love the bridge and I love like how the accents and like the life so low and how like the instrumental follows that. And then it ends with the radio skit, which transitions into the next song really well with like this like setting up the like you're listening to a metal station and then it goes into 6-shooter. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I guess speaking of that, 6-shooter, it's short and sweet. A nice like punk metal song. I think giving the bassist like more of a chance to just like fucking rage and just go all out.
That guy can scream. Yeah. Holy shit.
I think it's fine for what it is. Just like having a metal track after being foreshadowed as like a metal station. It's a nice motif.
I like kind of how this one really starts to like address that there's a problem within this.
This
whatever's
group.
going on here, like there's a bad energy. There's something negative going on. And everybody's starting to see it now.
Yeah.
And before it was just like, so what? Now it's like, wait a minute, it's here with us. And I especially love the fact that it's short.
Yeah,
for what it is. I think if it was any longer, I think it'd be like, it just kind of falls off. Like it's like right to the point,
serves its purpose.
Right, it really just gets it out, and then it's just right on. So I like that.
This is another case of like the track starting off with that radio fuzz. And then it just like really explodes with impact in your ears, like once it really gets going. And I think I would definitely agree. If this song was like maybe like even 30 seconds longer, I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah.
But it really helps pad out the album's pacing too, especially for an hour.
Yeah.
Which is really impressive because my ballpark like runtime is like 40-ish minutes. So like it was cool to kind of like have more. I don't want to even say skits because this is like a cool song, but like
it almost serves like that purpose though on the album.
Yeah.
It's
like little radio filler. It's
exactly.
like really, really cool.
It's like you're like you find the one station you listen to it for a second, you're like, no, this is trash now. It's like literally like anyone would have done after 30 more seconds of that song.
Exactly.
It's time to turn it.
Oh shit, it's over? Fuck. Changing the channel. Oh man. But yeah, no, I like it. I think it's really, really cool to see them let loose.
Agreed.
Really adds like a nice amount of textures of like different musical styles. So it's really cool.
Next up, we have another favorite of mine. We have Hangin Tree, 5/4, baby. This one's fucking awesome.
Best one. I'm sorry. I'm saying it right now. This is the best one on the album.
I can see why, dude.
I love this fucking
It
song.
is a good ass track.
Mm-hmm.
When I would just like to let you know, like I was at home, like counting it like on my fingers. It's like, oh shit.
What is this isn't for?
I don't know. This is like a really like bizarre pull. I feel like Jordy Greep now definitely pulled from this shit.
I can definitely hear like the guitar stylings. Like this sounds like almost like Holy Holy a little bit.
No, for real. Like I was hearing like what we were hearing lately of Jordy Greep like in this song, like pulling inspiration. Because like, oh my god, what a fascinating concept.
I know. Like gathering around the hanging tree, like dancing around like a very macabre site.
Yeah,
it's very very cool.
It's really cool.
It sounds like very 90s grunge inspired, like early Bungle, like almost like Nine Inch Nails. I love the syncopation and the rhythm of the song. The time signature is so fucking nice. The choruses are like super haunting because they're describing this like macabre scene, but like it's super calm delivery.
Yeah,
like almost like taking delight.
Like low and raspy and like whiny at the same time.
And like when they just say like the swaying, it's like oh
god,
that's icky. But I love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
It fits perfectly, and I feel it's almost like a suicide pact.
Yeah.
It's just like, we're going to die together, like, be accepting of it, and it's like...
Let's celebrate.
Let's just celebrate. Let's just have fun. But I think it's like, it's kind of a fun concept, like, not just being scared by death, like, living.
Accepting it.
Right, we're going to die no matter what, so might as well just live it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, the haunting element of this one, really, like, I feel like... I mean, before a lot of these songs have kind of that ghoulishness of a feeling, but
this one
fucking runs deep in your veins. So like this shit is crazy, but like I relate. You know what I mean? Like it's cool.
Yeah, man. I fucking love this track. Definitely a favorite.
They don't waste a second with like any of their tracks, and this one is just a prime example.
Yeah, for 50 minutes, it fucking flies by, which I love.
For real.
Yeah. Next up, we have another one of their biggest tracks, another one of my favorites. We have Go With The Flow. This one's pretty sick. I love the piano in the left channel.
Adds like a kind of a glam rock texture to it.
I love
like
it.
The octave like ease just on the piano. Like that shit is so gas.
And you have like the accented like drum beats, the paku paku pa, paku paku pa. It's such a like a nice hook. Love the bass line on this one. It's super crisp and just like really chugs and drives the song perfectly. I love how the vocals are mixed with having like the backups in the left channel and the right channel, but having like the main directly in the center. That's just like such like a nice choice. This is just a really great single. I can see why.
This track, like I described it as like hot to the touch. Like I don't know how else to describe it other than that. Like there's just so much shit being thrown in your face, but it all works. Like production wise, they do this really neat thing where like the guitars like kind of bleed into the left like a little bit. And like a little bit of like a subtle, my arm went in front of the microphone, so that's why that just happened.
That's okay.
If you're wondering,
you give a sound effect to everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't have the budget to actually use Adobe Audition, so we have to do the sound effects ourselves.
Well, Matt, we have established in season 2 that you have a sound effect board that does all the sounds ourselves.
That's very, very true. That's very, very true. Bring in the dancing monkeys.
Wow, he's doing that with his hands and a banana.
Whoa, look at
See, isn't that impressive?
Wow,
Yeah.
dude.
And here come the horses. See, those coconut shells. Yeah.
Dude, I wish y'all could see this. This has got to be the
crazy.
trippiest stuff I've ever seen.
This was very expensive. I hope you're appreciating this right now. Yeah. We're going to go into an ad break so you can change the channel.
Oh my God. Wow, see, season 1 throwback.
Sorry, AJ.
It's all right.
Oh, man. I do love this track, though. It's really, really cool. And this is where I kind of realized, despite this album using such like exaggerated stereo techniques, it's not like fatiguing, which is really, really cool. Like it really just adds to the whole vibe, I feel like.
Yeah, it's almost like you're in a car listening to it.
Exactly.
And you hear
I was
everything.
just about to say that.
Yeah. Sorry, I stole your thunder again, Matt.
It's okay. I'm agreeing with you. It's as long as we agree, you can steal my thunder.
By the end of this, only one of you will be talking.
Exactly.
All right, I'm gonna go to the Hanging Tree. I'll be right back.
We get you at one track. Well, Clay, what do you think about this one?
I really enjoyed it. It was it's this cool feeling, almost equilibrium, kind of becoming comfortable with just going with it.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to push back, not trying to fight it. And I've really enjoyed this line. I want to write this one down. I want something good to die for, to make it beautiful to live. It's like it's just I feel like that's
the goal.
Right. It's just such a great way of putting it. It's simple, it's sweet,
Yeah,
and especially because the vocals are so pronounced on this one. I'm glad because it's like that's a line like it like hits you in your soul as you're getting serenaded.
Yeah,
you know. So I really enjoy it. It kind of feels like a guy who's like knocking out. You know, it's like kind of just like waving around.
Yeah, I can go with the flow.
Right. Yeah. Just so what? Whatever. Let it come.
Yep.
So I really like this one again. It's one of the more favorite ones.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can
for good reason.
Obviously, good
Without
reason.
a doubt, yeah.
Some songs I feel like when they're popular, it's almost like a reason to not want to like it.
Yeah.
But this is like one of those, especially albums in general. I'm like, I don't care if this song is mainstream. So fucking what? It's a good song.
Yeah, man.
You know,
it's a great album. I mean, I don't know if y'all ever kind of get this sort of feeling when you listen to music, but like, you ever listen to albums and you're like, oh my God, I wish I found this so much earlier.
Oh yeah, for real.
Like, I could say this about this album. If I heard this song when I was in high school, I would have ate this shit up like so much.
Totally.
Like, this song is so good. It's one of the singles, right? I'm pretty sure.
I would imagine
it's one of 3 singles because
Yeah.
one of them came out in 2002. I believe that one was First It Giveth.
Okay.
I want to say. I wrote this down. I wasn't looking at my notes when I started talking, ladies and gentlemen.
If not, description.
First It Giveth was the first single, and then the 2003 singles were Go With The Flow, and then
No One Knows.
No One Knows.
Gotcha.
Good shit, man.
it's gotta be hard picking out a single when you drop all of these. So, like,
Exactly.
what are we gonna put out as our singles now? And it's just like,
It's like, okay, we can roll out 6 Shooter.
That'd be incredible. I'd still listen to it.
For real. Next up, we have, again, another favorite, Gonna Leave You.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The fucking bass in the beginning of this was fat as fuck. I love it so much.
I love it. Love also the thumping drum beat with the toms, just how pronounced they are. I really dig the pre-choruses on this one. I think like the layered vocals on the choruses, they sound like very classic rock, almost like Eagles-esque, but like you have like a little bit like the grunge in there. So I said like kind of like Eagles meet Foo Fighters, which I thought was a really cool kind of blend. The vocal performance is super nice on this one, using like a higher, more delicate register with some very chill backup vocals. I'd say like one of the more simple tracks lyrically, but it's still effective at conveying what it's all about. This is just a really solid track through and through.
Especially like 10 tracks in too.
Oh yeah,
like,
man.
Oh my gosh. Even for 15 tracks as a whole, because I think that's right, 15?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like each track is so memorable in its own way, and that's another strength of this album that I really just have to acknowledge now. I feel like this one isn't as heavy, and it's really, really cool to kind of like see that. There's like a bit of a pop influence like in this half of the album, I feel. But like it really, really works. And I'm happy to be here to listen to it, I guess, you know? It's
man.
really fucking cool.
I like this one a lot because it's kind of in my head. It's kind of like a relation back to the other album where he's like he's gonna leave and then like the next one after he comes back.
Yeah.
So it's like this quitting and this like this tension of kind of like you want to leave but you don't, but it's like you're mad at them, but it's but you're not mad enough.
Yeah. So you still stay.
Right. I like that. I like that whole kind of inner conflict that we're really starting to see now. Kind of actually delving more into a self-inflection, like an actual one, not just I'm a terrible person who does a bunch of terrible things. Like, okay, no, like look at yourself now.
Yeah.
Now. Like what kind of person are you? And I feel like it really starts to get to see who our main character is here, who we're like listening through the eyes of.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy. I feel like it's a really nice way to be like
some introspection.
Right. We're a little past halfway through the album at this point. So it's like finally nice to get to fully understand. We're not just throwing out poems and nice fancy words. Let's get into the nitty gritty of it. And like now we're here. And I feel like again, especially with the instrumentation, like it really kind of brings that out. It's like someone like just like almost screaming. That's how I felt like. I felt like someone's like chest like opening up.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's
That's fucking tight as fuck, honestly. I love that description. Also, I don't want to like put you on blast or anything like that, but I just need the audience to know like Clay went all out with his notes. He has like sketches and shit.
Yeah, man.
I've been trying to
I was
like
getting a feel. I was draw. I do images.
I've been trying to like subtly take glances. I'm like, wow, that's so fucking cool.
I love how you did the different fonts too for like the artists. Yeah, that's fucking
awesome.
Sweet.
I love that.
And this one, I've really liked this because I saw a lot of cool imagery in my head, and it's not as like serene as the other ones, but it's a little bit more like
raw.
Yeah, like it's like,
but it fits.
I could feel it like coming through the music, and so it's really easy to like draw images, and that's like it kind of actually helps me to like know what I want to say.
Yeah, no, like that's incredible that music could have the power to like move someone to even do that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's so cool about this album because you do see like a very vivid picture. It's cool that you decided to siphon that into your notes.
Yeah, that's dope.
I couldn't go this recording without acknowledging how cool that is.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
One last thing I was gonna say about this is that like, despite it, I know you kind of said this is like one of the simpler songs. This one has a very unique chord progression. I don't remember exactly what it was, but like I was like, oh wow, that's really cool, and because it kind of like leads into the choruses like really really well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
all around good track.
I would say so.
Next up, we have probably my least favorite track on the album. We have "Do It Again." I'm not really a big fan of like the instrumentation style. It kind of like reminds me of Muse a little bit. And with this kind of anthemic rock beat and like the haze. It's like
I did write about that. Yeah,
a little obnoxious, unless that's like what I guess the point they were going for like a safe kind of radio hit. The choruses are definitely better. I kind of like how it almost has like a swing nature to it, and I love how the guitars accent during that whole period. Gives me almost like Deep Purple vibes a little bit, which I dug. Also, the bass licks are pretty sweet during that too. And I also really like the outro a lot, just having like the consistent build up on the toms before it just explodes at the end. I'd say like, pros and cons, but probably of all of them, it's my least favorite.
I guess it's good it's in like the end half too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I would say like the next few tracks are like very much pick it back up.
Totally.
I would agree. The haze did kind of take me out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is even correct, but like this band feels like the vibe the White Stripes were in my brain before I actually listened to them.
I see.
You know what I mean? Like this whole album feels like Jack White's vibe.
Yeah.
Before I listened to the White Stripes.
Your idea of Jack White.
Exactly. Like if I drew Jack White in my notebook right now, before and after, yeah,
Yeah, you have Queen of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
And the White Stripes.
I'll put the sketches up on our Instagram, don't worry.
Yeah.
This one I really like because again, there's like the juxtaposition of kind of like right before this saying I'm gonna leave and right back, which is kind of like reminiscent of like what a junkie would be like.
Yeah.
Someone or a junkie of whatever, adrenaline, drug, whatever your thing is, but it's like right back to it. You walked away. I'm not going to do this anymore. And it's like
right back
relapse
to it.
right away.
Yep.
So it's like doing it again. And I think it's really interesting too because now we finally have I only get to live one life, which I think that really starts to bring down the mortality of who he is.
Show some development.
Right. Because before, we were feeling immortal. Back on a Song for the Dead, we felt like that. Now it's like
I got to be careful.
Right.
Yeah.
This will end, So I kind of appreciated that. And the one thing that's actually funny, you said that about like the poppy kind of feel, which isn't really my favorite, but I almost kind of took it as a joke.
Yeah.
On like songs, this is like them like laughing about like
radio hits.
Right. This is our radio hit right here.
Yeah.
Like you want to put one on, like here you go.
Exactly.
So
hey.
Yeah, right. It's so corny, but I was like, hey, I kind of like that. Like, like stepping out. And this whole thing was experimental as fuck. So I really enjoyed it. They just took whatever liberties that they were like, this is what we want to do. You could tell this was like a fun album.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell when everybody has fun and this is musicians at their peak having fun. Like it doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't feel like where's the last one? I feel like it's a little bit more like this was like choreographed and made. This feels like
let's just make a song.
Let's make this thing. And then they went and did it.
Yeah.
And so I like that.
It's fucking tight. And I think like even though the poppy nature of this song might not be favored that much amongst the three of us, I would say it fits well with like the end half of this track being just full of these radio ads.
Yeah.
Which I think it plays into like the whole theme, but also just like what this track probably serves.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's like it has to be like something like that.
I would imagine.
But speaking of those radio ads, they open up the next track, God Is on the Radio, a nice critique of religion. Set up like very well with the radio skits, kind of going through a lot of different kind of channels and like ads, which is pretty cool. It's also like super ominous when it starts, having this like droning synths in the left channel, and like you have this like really tense high pitched piano that has like this really like shambling, almost like drunken beat to open it up. It's a really cool track. I really love the choruses. It's almost kind of like you're confessing how like maybe like some people who are religious kind of view confessing the bad things you've done as like almost like a reset.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Like a catharsis of some kind.
Yeah,
even.
just to be kind of like, well, I confess, so it doesn't matter anymore. I'm like refreshed.
This track really grew on me. I wasn't like the biggest fan of this when I first listened because I was like, oh man, they're really playing into the concept of this track a lot. But I definitely have come to really enjoy like the overall bouncy feel of this one.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool how much they play into it, especially with that like preacher guy, which just adds to this really like eerie vibe. Like, oh my gosh. I like the riff the guitar has in this track, mostly because like I feel like it's with some guitarists, I'm like, oh my god, how did he play that? But I feel like I can actually kind of like see him like constantly lifting his fingers up and off of the fret constantly. So it's fun.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if I explained that very well, but like
I really enjoy like the whole God versus devil
man
aspect of this one, like really showing like, you know, like a evil versus good, you know, like the, like almost on each shoulder. Like you have like one saying one saying the other,
and then almost like kind of flipping that on its head, where it's like you point out the hypocrisy of both.
Right, exactly. So it's like I really liked that whole God versus devil. I listened to it a couple times when I was like really looking at it. And, like, listening, I was like, damn, like this is actually a really like conceptually huge song. Like, you know, I feel like for what it is, you wouldn't think of, if you were listening to the lyrics, you'd be like, okay. You listen to it like, damn, like, that's some deep shit.
Yeah, man.
And I right at the end, actually, I don't know if you know, there's like a thing where he kind of started saying all his backwards words. I got it.
Yeah.
Is I'm right behind you, watching you. Look over your shoulder. The bottom window. I'm in Eric's room. You're inside my hands.
I know, dude.
It's like
it's spooky.
It's spooky, right?
Yeah, I love that. It's just like it makes you like fucking look over.
Yeah, right. It's like that's a creepy way to like really start to like draw this thing out. Like
I also think it's such like a cool kind of like callback to like the Satanic Panic about people being like rock music is the devil. It's like
turn his back around. It says
it's like says the people in the fucking cult. Like that's crazy. Like I think there's like a minor crux to this album that I think this song really like sheds light on, which is really, really cool. Like all the more ghoulish, as you said earlier, sounding songs, they're kind of just about people living their lives. Whereas the one song about like these preachers trying to put shit in your head, that's like the most eerie part of the album.
Right.
And I think they really play with that like so well, because it did freak me out, but like in the good way.
Yeah.
You know? All my homies with religious trauma. You know?
Rise up. Next up, another favorite of mine, we have another love song. This one I feel has like the most Scooby-Doo
I love
aspects to
I literally
it.
wrote that in my notes, yeah.
But I agree, I love it a lot. I love the organ. I love the guitar riff with how it just kind of like wavers and like it's shredding. Very straight ahead, like almost like a tribute to psychedelia, but it's still just a really solid instrumental. Also love the accented bass line on this track and how everything is split into the channels, having like the guitars on the left and having like the drum cymbals on the right specifically. This one is just really fun all the way through. I love it.
What's so cool about it is, if we're talking back to like the whole radio theme too, it's like it's like an anti-love song, first of all, which is really, really cool because they're making fun of all these stations playing the same old shit like all the time. Like pop music is super saturated in the idea of finding love, and also like expressing heartbreak, and it's
Boz
like
Scaggs.
Boz Scaggs.
Yeah, really.
And it's like
that entire album got debunked by one song right here.
Yeah, the people who wrote this album were in the car with their dad listening to Sirius XM all those years ago. Yeah,
this is like your album.
Yeah,
you had to write one.
Did I mention listening to these albums back to back? I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I think that's what's really cool about it. Just like, because they're saying like, oh shit, like another fucking love song. Oh shit, you know, those are my keys. For those who are wondering what that jingling was, it could have been
did a sound effect on his board.
Yeah, my keys on my sound effect board. Oh
that one was even crazier than the horses.
Shit, he pulled out his keys.
How did you mimic your key sound without your keys?
That's insane. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What was I gonna say? I lost track of where I was in my notes. The organ on this track adds like this really nice like campy 60s horror.
Love it.
Which I think adds to the Scooby-Doo chase music. I feel like we cover a lot of albums where it's like there's like an aspect of Scooby-Doo chase music, and it's always like my favorite every single time.
It's a good motif.
It's great. It works.
You put any of those songs over that clip of them running out of doors. Yeah. And it goes hard as fuck.
Exactly.
It goes hard. I was just gonna say, one point that you, one of you said, I can't remember what it was, I didn't want to forget it. The intro with the guitar, that kind of like waning. I feel like it was very thin, which I feel like in my head when I was thinking about it, kind of reminded me of like kind of making fun of that's what it was when you say making fun of these like love songs on the radio. Yeah. I got that, and I was like, you know what? It's almost like kind of them saying like, look at this thin, very like nothing in it kind of song, like when it starts off originally. So I feel like it's kind of like a quick like
a little jab.
Yeah, quick little jab, but then then they turn it up and like make it into something, not just like super flat, but it has that really flat kind of beginning. And again, very deserty, which I feel like really brings like a lot. I feel like beforehand, a lot of these songs, even though they're kind of deserty, kind of started getting into some other kind of areas. Yeah. Just kind of pulls us back into like that whole idea of we're traveling through the desert. And And
I agree.
I really like the
I also think going back to like the making fun of love songs, like another love song is like a double entendre, where it's like you think it's gonna be just like just your run of the mill love song, but then it's like no, the person that I'm interested in is just gonna be another love song because it's over at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
And the ending with the womb radio,
my God.
Damn awesome.
That fucked me up,
the
man.
dominatrix.
Yeah, right. I was thinking the
Stage.
enchantress. Yeah, I was like, okay, she's like, crawl back into my womb. But it's also, I feel like in the head, like people when they listen to the radio, and it's just like, I don't want to listen to something that's new or different or like experimental.
Exactly.
And it's like, come back to me. Let me show you like.
If you're good.
Right. Like, close to MK Ultra type music. Like, like just crawl back in because it's easy and it's calm. Like you feel warm and you feel cozy and you're comfortable.
And it's cool because like she's calling them like weak for doing that too.
Right. Like making fun of them, but it's just like, well, it's easy though.
Come on back.
It's like an
Be a good boy.
allegory. It's like the allegory of the cave almost. You know what I mean? Like it kind of has that vibe of just not wanting to like seek out that knowledge and get out of like the cave.
Exactly.
It's really cool. But like the radio.
And the womb.
And the womb.
I think this is also the one where it's like the radio skid like splits both tracks because it does lead into the closer really well of the bass album, I should say. Song for the Deaf. But yeah, this one is a pretty solid closer through and through. Nice little scream in the intro, sets up the kind of spooky vibe all around with this very tense like metal riff. I also just love how chugging the drums are and also how like cyclical the guitar riff is. And it does have like kind of like some nice like split up of the sections where it like goes through like everything like differently, which is really cool. I love the vocal harmonies on the choruses. They're super well done and they show a clear divide between the verses and the choruses. And I like how they make the title track just like such a big song with like all these build-ups, all these different sections. It's like a really nice culmination of everything the album has to offer.
It almost feels akin to like the vibe you get when you get to In the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson.
I can see that.
You know what I mean? Like you finally get to the title track and it's just like more than you would even expect.
Yeah.
Like you expect it to be big and it's fucking big. You know? What was I going to say? Clay, if you would like to go next.
I really like this one. It's like a selfish self-realization and then now wanting to be alone.
Yeah.
Right. I feel, coming back to the isolation, like I want to be alone now because I had to like reflect on this. And I really, really enjoyed The Canary in a Gilded Cage. And I actually did some research. There's a song by Arthur J. Lamb and Harry Von Tilzer from the 1900s.
Okay.
And it's like, that was a huge song back in the day.
Gotcha.
And it's kind of, it's that saying of like a canary in a gilded cage. Like you're in this beautiful palace. You're comfortable.
But you're not living.
But you're not free.
Yeah.
You're not free at all. And so it's like, kind of breaking out of that prison of your mind when you're listening to like this one. I feel like really like, okay, I'm not going to fall back to these things. I'm going to break out of this cycle, out of this continuous thing. And it's the song for the deaf. So it's like, I think it's also almost a joke on the listeners.
Yeah.
Who a lot of these people continue to do these things. And it's just a song, like a wake up, like wake the fuck
warning.
up. But
they know it's going to fall on deaf ears.
Then it's going to fall on deaf ears. I think it's such a hilarious song for that reason because it really like kind of makes it like, okay, well, you're not listening. I'm talking to you. Like, the whole time you've been with us, like, all these songs, like they continue talking to the listener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like this one, I feel like just the name of the title itself, aside from just everything else inside of it, which is beautifully done. I think it's a cool little fourth wall break again, almost.
For real.
It's a really nice thesis statement of like the true horror of humanity is just losing your individuality and becoming like a slave to what everybody else is doing. Like, yeah, really hits hard here. I also really like how they bring back I think they do like the same notes of like the opening guitar riff for You Think I Ain't Worth Anything But Like I Feel Like a Millionaire. This the true
this is the second track.
Yeah, it's a very long name. I wasn't looking at my notes again. I'm just trying to, it's hard, I'm trying to spread my eye contact with everybody in the room, but also like I have to read my notes. But like, I think they kind of do like a version of that riff in this song to kind of make it like a callback. Yeah. Like kind of like you mentioned, there's like a motif with that.
Yeah.
And it's really cool how they really just make it so like grandiose here. And it really pays off. I think the guitars here are like so awesome.
Yeah. I also love how it like ends with silence too, like how the album begins before it goes into like the little like the goofy break, the ha 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 ha.
Oh man, I meant to write it down. There's something with that too. That line that they use is something like significant. underneath the ha ha ha's. I forget what it's for.
Wasn't it like something from like their previous album, or maybe like a foreshadowing to their next one? It was something like that.
Something like that, yeah. But that is like a significant, like they did that on purpose.
Yeah,
like it's not just like a
goofy bit.
Right, right. I think the ha's are really funny too. I almost took like the radio host was kind of like laughing, almost at you, like whoever's listening.
Exactly.
If you're not breaking out of that cage, it's like,
all right, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, making fun of them.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, when there are silences on this album, especially like the prolonged one on this track, it would be really funny to like hook up a heart monitor to like my wrist, because let me tell you, my blood pressure was through the roof at this part, and then they start doing the ha ha ha. And I jumped. It was crazy.
Oh, it's so funny.
But it was fun. I literally wrote in it like, "Don't Mr. Bungle me! How fucking dare you!" But yeah, I don't know why. I was like expecting like a scream or something.
Yeah,
because there was screaming like throughout the album.
Yeah,
throughout the album, but throughout this track mainly is what I meant to say. It's cool.
Yeah, I think a really nice closer for the bass album. But next up, we have a hidden track. We have Mosquito Song, which is completely different from like everything we've heard on the album, which I really like a lot.
Yeah,
really like kind of separates it and solidifies itself as the bonus track. The vocal performance is like a lot more gentle. It gives me almost some like prog vibes, which I dig a lot. Also combined with like that accordion, I fucking like love that that's included in here too.
It's really cool.
About just like the meaninglessness of life and just like coping with that. The string section is also really nice here. They're beautifully haunting as like the violin just like trills through both channels, and you have like the piano playing like this haunted melody in the right. This is just a really like well-crafted song.
What's so cool is like the violin and the strings, they kind of sound like a mosquito.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was intentional, but like
it's cool.
It's a really, really cool artistic choice. It's oddly alluring, but like still creepy.
Yeah.
Creepy marching band is what I wrote in my notes. Definitely not like what I would expect anywhere on an album like this, but it's really cool because I feel like it adds such a nice like additional payoff.
Yeah.
To the record to really show just the range of creativity, because it's like, I guess arguably in terms of like matching up with the other genres like presented in this fake radio station like selection that they were trying to paint for us, I would say like this is the most like unlike anything that we hear.
Oh yeah.
And you wouldn't hear this on the radio like at all. Like this is
very much its own thing.
Yeah, I don't know what radio station is playing High School Marching Band, but like
it's not the Womb.
WOMB does not play marching band.
And I kind of liked it because like the mosquito, they draw blood out. Yeah. So it's kind of like over the there's gonna be an end to the journey. And, is this the end? And that's what I kind of thought about. It's kind of like almost like optimistic. Yeah. Like, a little change from the pessimistic views we get pushing every song, which again, not in a bad way saying pessimistic, like just a little bit more
like realistic. Yeah.
Right. And this one I feel like kind of like softens it a little bit. Yeah. Like, it's just like it's completely different, which I think is such a nice closer to the whole album, because we went like nothing wrong with Songs for the Dead, which is an amazing closer too, but it's like this one kind of like
there's like hope, the light at the end of the tunnel.
It's the breath after the scream, like it's out, it's done,
it's
like,
over.
Right, yeah. So I really enjoy it. It's a perfect way, I feel like, to wrap up all that somehow. Like, it's such a different, like, I don't know how they could have done that any other way. Yeah. Like, there's like to do that thing so different, but also keep it in the same realm. Yeah. Without like completely straying afar. I think it's a really cool thing that they did here.
I agree. I think it's a great choice. And I guess with that, that'll bring us to our final thoughts. So, Clay, what did you think of Songs for the Deaf by Queens of the Stone Age?
Again, I've loved this album for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
And I never really listened to it, actually. So this guy at my work, this guy I work with, he's really into these guys. And he's like, you listen to them? And I remember like listening to like Go With The Flow and stuff when I was like younger, but I was like, oh, like, not really. And this is the first one I listened to, like full album. So I listened to Hangin Tree. Yeah. And I was like, wait a minute, let's just check out this album. Like, I think I've never like actually like looked at it. And when I listened to it, it was like, damn, like, for where I was at the time, like I wasn't as bad as this guy for sure, but like I was in a not really great place. And like when I listened to this, it was like, kind of gave me hope. It's like, I can get the hell out of this. And so this album's been huge. I feel like in my own self-realization. Like like I felt I was there. So I really was there sometimes. Like I could, like weird like memories where it's like, this is something I know. Like this is actually something I know about. So it's like, it was a really beautiful album. Everything. I mean, everybody was on it. Like I said before, it's a fun album. Everybody had a good time. Everybody melded, and the production on it's beautiful. The story, and some albums they don't got, they don't always have to be experimental just to be cool, But this one I thought was the perfect way they could have done this. A great combination of musicianship and artwork.
Like storytelling.
Yeah, it was really well done. If I had to rate this, see, I don't want to like suck it off too hard. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it's like it's hard for me to give like a huge number because it's like, well, there's a lot of other albums I think are really great too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna have to be straight real. I think it's gonna be an A+. I just think for everything from me. And if I had to give it a number, I'm gonna say a 9.99.
Wow,
like
all
right there.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that can make it perfect. But I don't think it's ever perfect. Like like you were saying, like Do It Again is kind of like. It's not perfectly amazing, but I like it for what it is.
Yeah, and what it is on the album.
Right, but listenability wise, I can't re-listen to just that song.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think almost anything else in this album I could.
Yeah.
So, and not that I don't want that there. I think it's a great part of the storytelling, but that's why I had to give it a 9.99.
I think it's very fair. Now, what'd you think?
I genuinely love this album. It immediately like grabs my attention with like it's super like, hey, you're listening to KLON. Like it's so like delightfully like just campy, but like not in an obnoxious way. And it just keeps up the energy for the entire listen. Even on like the weakest track, Do It Again, I would say like I didn't really get fatigued or that bored. I have to highlight just like, again, the guitar work and like the intricate rhythms and stuff because it is so consistent and like so well done. You get kind of like lost in the tracks with all that like fuzz and like kind of lo-fi sound they were trying to go for, but like in the best possible way. The bass is like a focal point for me. I know I didn't really mention it that much in this episode, but it's just like powerful. It's sometimes like really thumping and like really adds a lot of flavor to a lot of these tracks. I feel like the guitars, I have to praise them for just like their diverse sonic palette ranging from like the little glitchy bit in the beginning. I'm not sure if that was like, well, that was more percussion.
Like in the real Song for the Deaf? That one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It almost kind of like, I know it sounded like some sort of like weird like glitchy thing. It almost sounded like someone like tapping on like their fucking like
their
pickups or something like that. Like that's what I thought it was, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. The riffs, like they make me want to fight someone, but like in a good way.
Yeah.
But they're also like really fast and sometimes like really intricate, creating like this sense of urgency yet also like excitement. I feel like this album really leans into the whole like comfort the disturbed kind of like mentality. In terms of like disturbing the comfortable and comforting the disturbed. I feel like even though this album sounds kind of abrasive, it's like really, really cool to see how real of an album this is and how oddly like you feel a sense of solidarity in a way. The drums are excellent. They provide just like a very solid foundation. It's cool that they mix two different types of like drum kits to like make such a really unique like
sound.
Yeah. And their presence is like super impactful.
Dave Grohl fucking kills it.
He really does.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
The vocals, just really nice trade-off between like the fucking like screeching with like really nice yet like not over imposed harmonies. They really know how to keep the listener on their toes, and I'm very happy that I was on this little listening journey. This is definitely an album that I will be returning to very often. I'm going to give this an A- tier, and kind of similar, probably not as high, a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Because honestly, like, this is probably one of the best rock albums I've ever heard.
Good stuff.
I would say. And I think I want to check out this band more. I know like they've changed members like a few different times in a few of their different like album runs, but
They have Elton John on one of them.
really
For one of their whole albums?
No, I don't know if he does the full thing, but he definitely has like parts of it.
That's pretty cool.
that's really really cool.
Whoa.
They get really experimental, like in some of their other stuff. The other stuff is really cool too.
Yeah.
This is just the one I picked. Like I really do suggest checking out their music if you're into that kind of rock. You know, for anybody listening or for you guys,
Good stuff.
because they're one hell of a different kind of band.
Yeah.
I will definitely check that out.
Hell yeah,
I definitely
man.
want to check out their discography a bit more after this. So thank you for bringing it on.
Oh yeah, no, I'm glad y'all liked it.
Of course, dude.
But AJ, this is your moment to tell me how you like this album.
Dude, this is my moment.
This is your moment.
Wow, dude. That's fucking special, man. I did really enjoy this album. Before this episode, I had listened to their debut, which I liked, but like definitely not as much as this album. I feel like this album is just like in like an entire league of its own. I've always heard people sing its praises, and I can see why now. Just like the ideas, the entire just like concept and motif of just like a road trip and with like the radio station is such a cool concept, while also providing commentary for like the industry, like self-discovery, like drug addiction. It's all like presented very well, and like the radio motif like plays into that perfectly. Like you said with Comforting the Disturbed, I feel like they do play with that really well by just kind of like showing like the hypocrisy of like humanity, and also pointing out like the things that like what's like more accepted in society, like kind of like peeling back those layers and like seeing like kind of the dark underbelly, like with God Is on the Radio. I think that's like an excellent kind of level of commentary. Musically, this album is fucking fantastic. Like so much variety while also sticking to a consistent sound, which is really impressive. I love all the time signature switch ups with like 6/8 and 5/4. I think there's like a bar of 6/4 and like one song as well. They like really just play around with just like music theory like perfectly. Dave Grohl specifically is fucking phenomenal on this album. Like really great addition to the band, and I love just having like his influence like all across. The guitar work is impeccable. So many great riffs. Like you said, they're really perfect to just like fucking fight someone too. While also having some kind of like more mellow haunting moments on like the slower tracks, which I dug as like a motif a lot as well. Vocals are fantastic, and I love like what they're saying, as well as like the lyrical flow and performance. They're perfect for every track. Production wise, I think this album is also really fucking good. I love the overall murky kind of style to it, where they just sound like very sludgy, very lo-fi, but it's still polished enough to hear everything very cleanly. I think only criticism in that regard is that the bass is like the most inconsistent in the mix. There's some moments where it gets a little lost, but other moments where it shines. So I think if like that was like tightened up a little bit, it'd be even better. But that's like a minor nitpick. Overall, I think this is definitely deserving of like one of the best rock albums of all time. It's fantastic. I'd probably give it like a solid A tier. I'll probably be returning to it as well.
Wow.
Yeah. Really, really good, man.
Oh, yeah.
Good work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all liked it.
Of course, dude. And thanks for coming on the show, Clay.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
Of course, dude. Glad to hear.
It's cool to like look at music like this, because I feel like I do that a lot, but I never get to like say it, I guess. Or like, you know, like it's just like a weird conversation I have to bring up. Like, what do you think about this entire album? Because it's just like, you know,
The intricacies of Hangin Tree. Tell me.
Right? People are like, what? I don't remember half the songs. You know? So I feel like it's cool when to do something like this, where it's just, come on here, just talk about this, you know, give us some hype, give us some praise, you know. This is an awesome thing y'all do here. I really love. I mean, I love listening to your guys' show. I've been trying to work back through the podcast. Oh, hell yeah. So it's a slow process.
Yeah, we have a lot of episodes.
But
so
I'm getting there, man. I love it all. So
thanks, dude.
It's honestly awesome to be here. When you guys invited me on, I was like, yes. That's why I took so long on the album. I was like, this has got to be good.
My moment.
Right? This has got to be something cool.
Well, dude, I think you fucking knocked that out of the park, man. You're a great guest.
Thank you
We'd
so
love
much.
to having you on here. And we'd love to fucking recording.
Yeah.
This is fun.
We'd love to have you on again if you're ever interested.
Yeah.
All up to you guys, but I'm 100% down.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Awesome.
It's going to be a lot to try to get back on this one, though. I'll tell you that. Like, oh, how do I beat this one?
Listen, once Clay is in the studio, it's over, you know?
Exactly.
Here's the lowdown.
When Clay comes back, another Boz Scaggs album.
Yeah, every single time Clay comes on the podcast, we're only going to review Boz Scaggs.
Exactly. He's a requirement.
Right. One like, okay. And then one just like, whoa.
Super.
Where the hell did you find this
Boz
thing?
Scaggs and the fucking Good Kid, Mad City.
This is awesome. And thank you all so much. Thank you all for listening.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, thank you to our listeners as well.
Exactly. And I guess with that'll bring us to the end of the episode. Thank you all for listening and for your constant love and support. As always, I'm your host, AJ Sonari.
I'm Matt Glass.
And I'm Clayton Malaney.
This has been another episode of The Family Album, and we'll see you next week for Tom Hates Albums.
Peace.
Yeah.